Hello and welcome to our very first session for our C++ tutorials. In these classes of C++ tutorials, we shall follow W3 School's syllabus and step by step, we shall be explaining everything that they'll talk about in C++. So without wasting much time, I'm called Mohind Mubarak and I'm going to be your tutor. So let's begin. So if you want to follow along with W3 School syllabus, you can go to w3schools.com/C++. Then you'll be able to follow along with the syllabus that you're going to use in this course. So here at the very home of C++, they'll give you the reasons why you need to learn C++. So first of all, C++ of course is a programming language that will enable us to write computer programs. But the question would be, like, why C++? Why should we use C++? C++ is a cross-platform language that can be used to create high-performance application. So this C++, the meaning of cross-platform, means that we can use it on any operating system. It's not like other languages. Some other languages, they work on some operating systems, and some operating systems they don't work. So the reason why I choose C++, it's because it can work on all the operating systems. That's why I call it a cross-platform programming language. So this C++, we can look at its history. It was created by some person called Bajai Strostrap. This one, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this is the person who created C++ some time back. And this C++ came after another language called C, or C programming. Then after that, they created C++. Also, C++ gives we programmers a high-level control over the system and the memory. It has some good practices that we need to have as programmers when you are controlling the system itself of the computer and the memory of the computer. Also, the C++ language is updated. Has been updated in three major terms. In 2011, they released a version of C++. In 2014, they released a version, and currently in 2020, they released another version the current version of 2020. Or the current version of 2020 was released in 2017, and this was C++ 11, C++ 14, and C++ 17. This is the latest one. So it means that the current one, when we're recording this video, we are using C++ 17, which was released in 2017. So why should we choose C++? So here are some most important keynotes that we need to notice as the reasons why we need to use C++, not other programming languages. C++ is one of the most, is one of the world's most popular language. If you search most popular language on the search engine, among the top ones, C++ is in the first 3 or first 5. So that's why you need to know C++. Secondly, C++ can be found in today's operating system, such as can be found in today's operating system. That means the operating systems such as Windows, Mac, Ubuntu, all those operating systems, they support C++, and it can also be used to create graphical user interfaces. Like I can create things which are not in black and white, things which are clickable using what? C++. And we can also use it in embedded systems, such as it means that here we can use also C++ into other programming languages. For example, I can use again C++ to create Android apps. That's what I mean. So all these give us the reasons why we should learn C++. And then lastly, C++ is almost like Java. C++ and C# and Java and JavaScript also, they use almost the same syntax. So if you know C++, you can simply teach yourself C# and Java. So that's why you need also to know the C++. So with that said, I think we have all the reasons why we should learn C++. So let's get started. So we shall follow W3 schools like the way I told you. So we shall click on get started, and we see what we need to do before we start learning C++. First of all, you have to create what we call environment. Environment is preparing your computer or preparing yourself to be able to write C++ programs. That's what we call environment. So we need these two things. Number one, we need a text editor. A text editor is a software that will enable us to write the codes of C++. The other one, we have a compiler. A compiler is a software that will enable to transform those codes of C++ to the programs that the computer will understand. So those are the two things that we need. Otherwise, if you have these two things, then you're good to go. You're good to start learning C++, and you're going to learn how to install these two things in your computers. But there is something called an IDE. IDE means Integrated Development Environment. So this integrated development environment, it will make our life simpler. Like, it will get both of these two and compile them into a single software, other than us installing text editor separately and install compiler separately. We shall install just an IDE, and an IDE will handle both the compiler and the text editor part. So we don't need what? We don't need to install this separately if you have an integrated development kit. An integrated development environment, IDE. So to save time, instead of installing this separately, we shall install an IDE, and that IDE will be able to do what? We'll be able to put both of these in our computer. Now, the most famous IDE at the moment, which is simple to use, is CodeBlocks. You can even see here they are recommending it here. So you can come to W3 Schools and then click on this CodeBlocks, or come to Google and search CodeBlocks. You see what I write? CodeBlocks, like this. Or you can search it as one word, CodeBlocks. So if you search it as one word, you'll see the search results. So the very first search result for CodeBlocks is here. So to download CodeBlocks, I can click here on downloads or download binary or on the CodeBlock itself. So when I click on CodeBlocks itself, I'll get this this website of CodeBlocks. Okay, this codeblocks.org. Then I'll come to downloads. You can read along all these things, but me, I'll just go straight to downloads, and then I'll go to binaries. Click here, download, then binaries. So here we'll have some binaries of CodeBlocks and the updates of CodeBlocks. So the latest update was made in March 2020, which is very recent. So you have to download the CodeBlocks. Not all the CodeBlocks will work here. You have to download the CodeBlocks which is having the setup of what? Of the compiler. And that is this CodeBlocks on the 4th here. You see? CodeBlocks with the Minji setup. This one is the one that we need. Otherwise, if you download others, they will not have the what? The compiler. So you can count here 1, 2, 3, 4. This fourth one is the one that you're going to download. So you click here on download SourceForge, or here, one of these two, it will work. So I'll just click on SourceForge, and then they'll take us to a place where you can download. So it will process. After a few seconds, it will start doing what? It will start downloading. But for me, I have already downloaded it, so I don't need to wait for it to even start downloading. I can even cancel at this moment because you can see I have already downloaded it. Okay, so let me wait for it to start. I don't need it to. So it's going to start. So if it does not start, then you have to click on download again. Then it will start downloading. My internet is not good, but me, I've already downloaded it. So when it starts downloads and when it finishes, you have to open the folder where you downloaded your what? Your code blocks. So I'll right click and then say show in folder, and this is my code blocks. It is here. You can see it is here. This is the code blocks that I've just downloaded. So this setup, you're going to learn how to install it. After downloading, of course, you have to do what? You have to install it. So to install, you right click and say run as administrator. Right click on that setup and say run as administrator, or you can double click on it and then you will start the process of installation. So it will ask you to accept this code block to install the program on your computer. Then I'll say yes. Then it will bring these steps. Just click next. You have to read those terms and then you click next. Here they'll suggest for you what you should install. I'll not change anything. I'll click next and then again next. Then it will start installing. So I'll be patient until it completes installing. So as it is installing, we shall wait. So as it is installing, we can be doing something else. So I'll come back to W3 Schools. So we're going to write our first program in C++. When the code blocks finishes installing, we're going to write our very first program in C++. So to write a program of I think you should wait for it to install, because I don't want to confuse you. I'm using this. So there it has been. I'm using it. How can I use it? I'm using the USB to that. Already I'm using. So it has completed installing. Now we are ready to open. So I say, do you want to run it? I can say no. And then I say next. Then I say finish. So after you finish installing code blocks, we shall have the code block shortcut on the desktop. Or if you do not get it on the desktop, you can click on start and then you see here on the first option, or you can scroll down to letter C and you see code blocks installed here. So they'll have code blocks in our computer. So don't open this setup file next time you want to launch. You have to open the one which is installed. So if I want to open code blocks, I can double click on it and then it will start loading. The latest one is 2020. Wow, that's good. So I'll click on OK. I don't mind about the rest. And I hope everything is alright. Yeah, so I'll just say OK. So that's a code block. It's called an IDE. It has our text editor and it has a compiler within it. So we want to create a very fast program of C++. So to create a program of C++, there are two ways how we can create it. One way is through using the code blocks directly, or the other way is through using the file. So I'm going to create here a folder that I'll be keeping my source codes. So I'll click on right click and then say new, right click, then new, then folder. Then I can say learn C++. Okay, so here learn C++, I'll be keeping my content of my C++ codes. So I'm going to write here a new file. So I'm going to show you the first way. You see, I've just opened this folder, this one. creating a C++ code, you can right click here and then say new, then text document, and then if you have these extensions shown, then you can also you are able to do what, to make a C++ document. But sometimes this extension is not shown. You see this .txt, sometimes it's not shown. So if you want to make it visible, you can click on view and then you come to options, then you come to view here, and then you see here an option called hide extension. If this is hidden, hide extension for non-files. If I implement this one, then you'll see this file, its extension will be hidden, which is so you cannot change the extension. But this extension must be visible for you to do what, to change it. So if I want to make it visible, I'll again come to option and again click on view text. I click on view and then option, then view, and then I remove this one, hide extension for non-files. I'll uncheck it and then apply, and then say okay. Then you see the extension will be shown now, the .txt. So if I rename, I right click and say rename, and then I'll rename this one to 1_hello_world. Okay, so am I putting hello world? It's because why am I putting 1? It's because I want my code to be organized. I know where I should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why I'm beginning with what? With 1, so that I should be able to trace where I started from and where I stopped from. So the most important part for the C++ code, I repeat, the most important part, every C++ code extension must be with a what? With a .c++ extension. And the C++ extension, we have to remove this .txt, and then after removing .txt, and then you put .cpp. You see, otherwise if you don't put .cpp, then this project won't be counted as a C++ code. I repeat, after writing the name of your project, and then at the end you have to put a dot, and then you put .cpp. Otherwise, if you don't put .cpp, then it will not be counted as C++ code. Then you press enter. Then it will want me, do you want to change the extension of this file? I said no problem. Then I'll have that kind of C++ file. But in this C++ file that we have created, it is just a plain file. There's nothing there. So if I want to open it, I can right click and then I say open with. I can select here the program, Sublime Text. No. I can open it with the code blocks, or I can open first code blocks by double clicking on code blocks. There it is, code blocks. Then I move it on one side. You see, this is how I move it on the other side. Then I click on this hello world. I hold and I drag and I drop it inside the code blocks. So by doing that, then I'll have opened this file. So you can see here the name of my file has come here. So anything that I write, it will be saved in this file. So that's how we open a C++ file. So I'm going to write here some code. It may be a little bit complicated to you, but don't worry, I'll explain it all. So we shall begin by writing hash this, and then write include. Okay, see, I just begin by writing the pound, and then I put the word include, and then I open these square brackets like this one, and then I put IO stream. If you don't understand these things, we shall explain them later, but this time just watch and see what we're doing. So you shall write include IO stream, and then after we shall say using namespace. You see, when the word suggests, you just press enter, then it will just put itself there without writing the whole of it. So using namespace, then write std, then you put a semicolon. Okay, using namespace std and put a semicolon. Then write int main, open bracket and close it. Automatically it will open and close it. That's why we need an IDE. An IDE will help us to write our to accomplish our codes even before we complete it. Otherwise, if you don't have an IDE, we shall not get those great features of accomplishing the codes. Then I'll open curly brackets by pressing Shift and the curly brackets button. Then I press Enter. Okay. Then after doing that, I will want to display the word Hello World in my screen. So to display the word Hello World, I write the word C out, and then I put these less than signs. We call them opening angles. Opening angles. These two less than signs like this. Okay, like that. Then I can open the quotes, double quotes. When you open double quotes, automatically they will close themselves like this. You see, automatically they close themselves. Then I can put the word Hello World, and then at the end I come here at the end and put a semicolon. So every line in C programming, in C++, it will end with a what? With a semicolon. And then at the end I say return 0. Don't worry if you don't understand these things, but I'll explain them all. Then I save. To save, you press Ctrl and S. Okay, Ctrl and S button. It will enable you to save. Or you can simply click on File and then Save. File, then Save. I've already saved, so I didn't need to save it again. So that's how we save. So after writing these lines, now you can execute this code. To execute this code, there is a button here for running. You see, build and run. So if you click on that icon, it will build your application, process, and then show you the results. So I hope you can see that. So let me try to make this look bigger. Right click, properties, font size, maybe 32, and then layout. Yeah, so press OK. I think you can see the words a little bit clearer than before. So you see our output is Hello World. So you see what we do right here, we write Hello World, and then you also write here Hello World. So pause this video and do the same before even you continue. You just say do whatever I've done and make sure that you also have Hello World on your screen. So before writing another program, you have to first close this Hello World. Otherwise, if you don't close it, then it will not run. You see, if I forget to close it, then I click here, and those option of running will not be possible until I come back and close this black console. Then I'm able to do what? To run another program. So that's how we write a C++ program. So you should pause this video and do the same and make sure you achieve the same results. So we proceed. That's all we need. And another way, I said that there are two ways of creating a program. That way, we just opened here a new file, and you see these two files will be added here. Later I shall explain what they mean. Okay, but at this moment don't mind about them. This is the file, the original file that you created, the .cpp file, but you can see some other two files have been added. We shall explain them later what they mean. So that was one way. Another way of creating a file, a C++ file, you can simply come here to File and then New, and then say Empty File. So, or you can press Ctrl and Shift and N, and then you'll be able to have another file. So before you do anything, you have to save. So you press Ctrl and S to save. Then you can navigate where you want. My folder where I'm saving my information, it is on desktop and on C++ folder, and I can name here the file that I want to save. So I can maybe make it 2_hello world, or I can say _good morning. Then the most important part, don't forget the extension .cpp. Otherwise, if the extension here it is not checked, then you will not be able to write a C++ program. So it is good morning world, good morning _, .cpp. You must must write the extension. Otherwise, if you don't write the extension, then you'll not be able to write the C++ code. So if I say save, through that way, if you come back again to our folder, press Alt key and Tab, then you'll be able to switch through these windows. If you come back to our folder, you'll see the second file has been created. So those are two ways how you can create a C++ file. By either right clicking on the folder and then say new text, then change the text extension to .cpp, or by coming to the file and then say new and then a file, and then you change that file and save that file as with the extension of what? .cpp. So I'll close that, and then we can write also a C program here, a C++ file, a C++ program here by using include. I can zoom control and then you scroll up, include, put IO stream, then write using namespace std. Shall explain the meaning of this, then semicolon, then int main, open normal bracket and close, then open curly brackets and press enter like 3 times, then press tab key to go one step ahead, then say return 0, then come on top, and then here I can say cout, that's the one that will enable us to print, and say put those two less than sign and say good morning Uganda, then I put a semicolon at the end, then I save, Ctrl S, then I run. So you see I can make such a program which says good morning Uganda within just within just a minute. Okay, so that's the second way how we create a C++ program. So let's go back to our syllabus. Now let us explain what we've been writing. So syntax, what should we do? Let us break it into step by step. Okay, this is the code, that the program that we wrote, this one. Okay, now let us see what is meant by everything. Include iostream is a header file library, and let us work, it lets us to work the objects like it lets us to work on outputs like putting the word cout. Okay, I'm going, this is just a little bit definition, but me, I like explaining things in a practical way. Okay, in simple terms, here include iostream is a C++ library. In other words, just like a C itself. This one will enable to include the C++ within our program, and we can be able to do some functions like printing or displaying on what? On our desktop, on our screen. Otherwise, if you don't have this cout, iostream, then you'll not be able to input and output. You see, so it's called iostream because this one is input and output stream. So if you include this one in your project, then you'll be able to do what? To print on your screen. Otherwise, if I remove this line from my project, then I'll not be able to display anything. Can you see it is bringing an error here? When I try to run, it says, hey, this thing is not recognized. If I want to be recognized, then I have to put iostream. In other words, it enables us to display something on our screen. So that's the meaning of this first line. So you go to the second line, using namespace std, this one, using namespace std, we're on this one. It means that we can use the names of objects. We can use the name of objects and variables from this standard library. You see, we were able to use this as a name just. So this std will enable us to use the variables. This one included the ability to use these ones, but we couldn't use it until we include std as a namespace. So this one will enable us to use the variables, these ones inside here, just using short names. using short names. You see here, if I move my mouse here, it tells me that this one, can you see what has been displayed? It is inside std and then the cout. So instead of writing std cout here, instead of writing std cout, I can as well write just cout. Then it will be able to display. For example, I can do this one by just saying std and then put these 2 colons. Then I'll have singled only the cout out, and then if I print, then it will do the same thing. Okay, so if I do that one, I may not need again this include namespace std. You see, I've removed namespace std, but our program is working. Okay, our program is working. Then why do we need namespace std? Namespace std, it will enable us to use these names without specifying this. For example, if I remove this std and then I run this program again, it brings us an error. Why? Because this cout is not recognized. So if you want to use these ones shortcuts other than specifying this every time, then we have to include using namespace std. Then we will not again write the what, this thing of std, then double colon, and then cout. So that's the point why we need using namespace std. Why? Because it enables us to use the std names without specifying the whole location of std. It just makes us to be able to use those short names inside the IO stream. So I hope you've got that point. Okay, so we will go to the line 3. What was the line 3? Line number 3. Include int main. We shall explain that one later. So that was just a new line. This one is a new space. This is just nothing. It is ignored. In other words, if you do like this, when you put a free space like this, it will be ignored. Okay, it will not be considered. You see, if I run it, nothing has changed. Okay, so if you put as such as free space, it will be ignored. So that's it. So we come to int main. So this int main is the point in C++ that will tell the operating system or the C++ itself where our program is starting from. So when you say like this int main, it is a function that will say, that will tell C++ that this is our main program, or this is where our main program starts from. Otherwise, if you don't put int main, then your program will not work, because it will fail to understand where to start from. So if you want to tell the C where your program starts from, you have to put this int main. So the C++ will start running. Even though this int main is at the last line, it will first look for this int main, or the main function, and then it will start executing things inside the main functions. Otherwise, if you don't put the main function, then your program will not execute. Okay, so you have to begin int main and then open curly bracket. So these curly brackets, these ones, they are the one that will show our code. So it says that our code inside the main function, it will start from here and it ends where these curly brackets end. Don't do like this, like you cut this and then you put it outside. Then it will not work. Why? Because this is not inside any function. So it has to be here, so that it should know that the code of our main function starts from this, where this curly bracket starts, and ends where this curly bracket ends. That's the point of curly bracket. Then you have cout. This cout, this one, is the one that enables us to display things on the screen, and then we use these pointers, these things that point and cout, to display something on the screen. You can come and read more about the cout, but that's the point. It enables us to display things on the what? On the screen. Then now we have this semicolon, this one. Every line in C++ end with a what? With a semicolon. For example, if I forget a semicolon, then the C++ will fail to understand where my line of cout stops from. Then if I run it, it will cause what? An error. It will say, hey, we don't know where your cout line stops from. So if we want to do that, we have to put a semicolon there so that the computer or the C++ should understand where our first line ends from. Even this one, every line in C++ ends with a semicolon. That's what you should know. And if you want to display a certain characters on the screen, you have to use these double quotes, and things which you put inside the double quotes are the one that will be shown on the screen. Otherwise, if you don't put double quotes, then your program will not run. I hope you get the point. So we proceed. Return 0. This return 0 it tells the operating system, or it tells the C++ that our program has stopped at this point. That's why we say return 0. So if you return 0, the operating system, remember here we promise here that we shall return an integer. This is the meaning of integer. So when we finish running successfully, we return a 0. Otherwise, if you don't return a 0, then operating system will think that our program crashed. To think that our program crashed. So to tell the operating system that our program did not crash, it has completed successfully, we have to return a 0. So at the end of this program, at the end of this function, we put return 0 to satisfy the promise that we put here, that we shall return 0 in case we finish, that we shall return an integer in case we finish successfully. So that's why we put here a return 0, because here we promised a return 0. Otherwise, if our program clashes or it stops somewhere inside the what? Inside this function without returning at the end a 0, then the operating system will know and will be able to notice that an error occurred somewhere, because someone promised to return for us an integer and he did not return anything. So I'll come back. So where were we? Return 0, we have looked at that, and then now we have this closing bracket, curly bracket. It is closing this function and tells that our main function stops from here. This is opening and this is closing. So those are the 7 lines that will display the word hello world on our screen. So omitting namespace, then you'll have to do this. I've already explained that. So that's how we write a C++ code, and that's the syntax of C++ code. I hope you've understood. If you don't understand, please put your problem in the comment section. I am ready to do what? To respond to it. So let us go to another part, the print text, or the displaying of text. So if you want to display the text on the screen, wait. So we say that you're going to look at output. So the output, if you want to display something on the screen, I'll be a little bit faster. I'll not read everything inside this document. If you want to read, you can come back and look around here. So if we would want to display something on the screen, we use the cout function, like the way we saw in the previous program. This cout function will enable us to display something, and it's a part of IOStream library. So you use cout, and then you point out like this, and then you put these whatever you want to display on the screen. For example, if I want to display on the screen, I can create a new file. To create a new file, you can simply press Ctrl Shift and S. Ctrl Shift and S, then you'll be able to create a new file. Or can come here, file, new empty file, Ctrl Shift N, not Ctrl Shift S, Ctrl Shift N. Then to save, Ctrl S. You have to save everything. That'll come and put here, and then I'll name this one as what? As 3, and then put output.cpp. So that's my third file. Then I can come and copy to save time. Okay, I'll write this one for the last time, like include, then I put IO stream, and then I put using namespace std, then I put int main open bracket and closing open curly bracket, and press enter, and then say return 0. So, and then this program will not display anything. Okay, it will not display anything. If I run it, it's running. Okay, nothing will be displayed. Okay, the program has ended and that nothing displayed. So if I want to display something, I can use C out, and then point out with these two lines, and then say I open double quotes and close them, and then say good morning, and so I can say good morning, and then say have a nice day. Then I put a semicolon at the end, don't forget that. Good morning and have a nice day. Then I put semicolon. Then I can run this one by clicking here, don't process, and then we have that. These things are not zooming, I don't know why. I don't zoom font. I want to increase the font. Why is it not zooming? I don't know why it's not zooming, baby. 74, and then the layout, let me reduce on the width. The window width, I can leave it at 90. Let me see. Okay, yeah, things are now look a little bit bigger, and then I can close. So I have good morning. So if I want to create a new line, even if you do like this, for example, if I copy and I paste, I want the word good morning and have a nice day. I want that have a nice day to be on a new line. So, and good morning to be on one line. Okay, you see, I want this one to be on a new line. If I run it, I'll see all of them still on the same line, yet this one's on different line and this one on a different line. So that's not how things work. If I want to create a new line, I have to put a \n. \n will create a new line. So from today, you should know that if you want to create a new line, you have to use \n. Then it will create a new line. So if I run it like this, then it will have like this, good morning, and then the \n, it enables us to break the line. Have a nice day. I can even make them to be in the same line like this, \n, just break the line, and then say bye. So if I run it, you'll see good morning, have a nice day, bye. I can say goodbye, but you see the word bye is also in the same line with this have a nice day, but it has dropped down because it has dropped down because of \n. So if you have \n, it will break the line. So that's how we output that information. That's how we create a new line. Okay, using \n. Yeah, so we shall go to comments. So comments, they help us. So I'll create a new file because I want to use every topic with its separate file. So I'll just say file, I can say use save as. So save as will create another fresh file and will leave the original file. I repeat, if you save as, come here, file, new, then save as, it will create another same file, but it will leave the original file. So I'll just change the name here as for and then put here comments. Okay, .cpp. So if you come to a folder, where is it? Press Alt and Tab to move through folders in case you want to know that technique. So if I come to a folder, I think I've closed it. Okay, it's on desktop. So on desktop, and then we see learn CPP, and then you see the 3 is still there, file number 3 is still there, but we have also created another file number 4. That's the power of saving us, and it will let us to resume with the same content that we had in the previous file. So I hope you've understood that. So we look at comments. So comments, what are comments? Comments, these are lines that describe our code, and these comments, they have no any effect on our on our program. So maybe if I work with a team and I want to explain with it, I want to explain what I was meaning. So I have to use a what? I have to use comments, and these comments, they will not affect anything in our program. So for example, to create a comment of a single line, you put just these 2 forward slash. So everything that comes after forward slash, it will not do anything. It will not affect our program. So for example, I can put there 2 forward slash and say, here I am printing, or I'm displaying. Okay, first line. So if I work with someone in this same project, they can read these comments and they'll understand what I was doing at that particular line or the certain particular code. So if I run, you see the comment did not affect anything in our program. The comment did not affect anything in our program. So I can even put here, say, this is last line. So if I run it again, this comment will not affect anything in our program. So if I come and that's one way of creating a comment. But this comment will only work on a single line. But sometimes we need to create a long line of code. A long line of so many comments. Okay, so if you want to create so many comments, you may comments with many lines, you can use forward slash and then a star, and then you have to close this comment. To close a comment, you put a star and then a forward slash again. So this, anything that you write between these two, they will not affect anything inside my project. For example, I can say here my C++ program written by Mohindo Mubarak. Then I can put the date 29th. Can put the month, April. I can put the year 2020. I can put the time, which is 2:02 a.m. So you see, it is a bunch of comments. It's a bunch of lines, and they won't affect anything in our program. So if you want to write many lines in a comment, this is how you write. You open with a forward slash and a star, and then you close a backslash and a star. Then inside those lines, whatever you write, it will not affect your program. But people who access the source code, those comments can be useful for them. So that's comment. Now let's jump into variables. So what is a variable? A variable, these are containers for storing our values. So as we proceed, we shall know that we will need to store our values, because without storing values, then there's no point of writing a program. So we want to reach a point where we shall be storing the values and we can reuse those values. So the variables are the ones that can give us that capability to create new values and reuse those values. So we have different types of variables in C programming language. In C++. The most basic variables, we have an integer, we have a double, we have a character, and then also a string. An integer, it will store only whole numbers. Okay, integers store only whole numbers. Then doubles, the doubles store the float numbers with decimal points such as 20.99, 3.4, 3 something. Those are called doubles. Then characters, they'll store only a single text file, or a single how should I say, a single character value. Those are to call char or character values. So other ones we call them a string, another type of variable that you have in C++. This one will store words, or a group of a group of characters. This one will store a single character, but a string will store a group of chars or a group of characters. Then you have boolean in C++. Then this boolean will store a true or false. So those are the basic variables that we have in C++. However, these variables, we can reuse them and learn how to and transfer them into other forms of information. So let us learn and see how we can implement these variables. So for example, I can create my number here. So to create a variable, first of all, you must declare it. To declare a variable is to create a space where we can store a number. Then after, you initialize. To initialize is to store something inside that number, and then you can use it. For example, here we are creating a variable called mynum. Here we begin by declaring it. Here it means that you are creating now a space called mynum. And then here we are here we are declaring it, and then here we are initializing it. When we store something inside this variable, we call it initializing. Then here we are displaying it. That's how we create and reuse variables. Okay, let us go into the code and see how we can create a variable and store something inside a variable. So we are going to practice all the variables into a one file. So get ready for that. So I'll press Ctrl Shift N, Ctrl Shift S to do the save as or file, and then say save as, and then I'll change this number to number 5, so that I should be able to know where I have which file is following the other. That's why I'm putting the numbering. So variables. So I'll save. So this is now a new file. I can close this one here because I don't need it. So I'll come and delete these comments, and then I'll come and delete this thing that we are using in the previous file. So we are going to create a first variable. So our first variable, we are going to create an integer. Okay, an integer. So just like the way we said, to create a variable, you first declare it. You cannot use a variable before you declare it. And to declare it, you begin with the name of that variable. For example, an integer, we shall have to enter int. Then after, we put the name of the variable so that we can be able to use this variable later. So I can say age. So by doing like this, I have created a space that can store an integer, and to access that space, we shall use the word age to access that space. So I can say age is equal to 22. Maybe that's my age, maybe. Then it means that here I'm initializing. I am storing 22 inside this integer. Then if I want to use this 22, I will say cout. Then I put out, and I open. I put the age like this. So by doing this one, it means that it will create a space of this, and then store there this age, and then display this age. So I save by pressing Ctrl S, and then I click on run and build. Then it will compile, and you see it is displaying 22. So what are the process? We declare a space. After, this space can store only integers, and then we declare, and then we initialize. initialize, we store there 22, and then we display it. So that's how we use integers. Otherwise, if I remove this displaying, or if I comment it, it means that it will not do any action or what on our program. Then let's try to run and see what will come out. It will cause an error. In fact, in the previous IDE, it could just cause it will print some garbage values, but here nothing will be printed. Why? Because we did not declare anything. That's why it is printing even a 0. So if I want to declare something, I have to do like this. So if I run it, then it means that it will print this 22 that it was stored. So if I say age is equal to 33, so what will happen? It means that it will first store there 22, and then this 33 will replace this 22, and then it will be 33. So the output, you can guess it. The output is, can you get the output? The output is 33, because C++ it runs line by line. So it'll start on top, and then it declare this space, and then store 22, and again this 33. It replaces the 22, and then the output is 33. So another way of declaring a variable, you can declare at the same time you initialize it. So to do that, I can just simply say int age, and then at the same time I initialize 34 maybe. So it means that this will display 34, because at the same time when you are initializing, when you're declaring, we also initialized. So that's how we declare integers, and that's how we store something inside the integer. Okay, so you can declare as many integers as you want. So I will should I make it separate? No, I can as well say then if I want to add this here, this integer here, I put just this double quotes, and then say put again like this, and then put years old. So this will be added to this, and then also this will be added to this, and then this will be added to this, and then we shall have a meaningful sentence like this: I am 34 years old. You see, the age has been replaced with the value of the age. Okay, so if I want this one not take action, so I can put new line like 2 times to separate it. Now let us look at something else. That's how we declare a variable, an integer. Now let us look at how to declare a character. To declare a character, you simply say char, like this, char. Then you remember the meaning of character. It will store any value, but only one value. It will store a single character. And I can say my char. So this is the name of my character. So if I want to store anything here in this character, I can say my char is equal to, I open a single quote. Here, not double quotes like this, but single opening of a quote and then single closing of a quote. Then you'll put only here, only one character, any key on the keyboard. This character can store it. Maybe I can put P, then I put a semicolon at the last. So this is the use of this character. It will store only a single character. It can be a number, it can be anything, but it will store only a single character. So if I want to print it, so I'll say cout, and then I can put out like this, and then put my underscore char. So if I put a semicolon, this my char will do what? Will display, and you know the value inside my char, it is letter P. Okay, can you see? This P has been displayed. How did you create new lines? By putting here the two backslash and n. Then we have this P being displayed on our screen as our new character. So that's how we create a character, and that's how we store something in a character. You can as well declare as you're doing what, as you're initializing. You can initialize as you're declaring, just like the way we did here, no problem. So I'll put here new line, so I have to add these two dashes, these 2 pointers, and then put double quotes, and then put new line like this. Okay, so that's it. So we go to another type of variable, which is the double. So the double will enable to store integers that have decimal points. It will enable us to store decimal point variables. For example, I can say double. To declare double, I'll just simply put double and then say maybe my. You cannot use my double as the name of a variable, so I can say my double. Okay, so inside my double I can store something like 11.231. so it is like an integer, but it's not an integer. So if I want to print it, I'll just say cout, then put out, then I put my underscore double. Then this one will be able to display. I can also put a new line. Will be able to display our double. New line. Okay, so this will be able to do what? To display our double. So if I run it, can you see the double has been able to be stored? But remember, it is just like an integer, but an integer you cannot store a double. You see, let me make some points here on the integer. You see, this is the integer, but if you run it, the integer will concatenate. You can see here 34 where we're printing the integer. It has ignored everything that came after a decimal point. But if you want to store values the decimal point, we use a what? We use a double. Okay, so I hope you've understood that. So that's how we store values with decimal points. So we come to string. A string, we said it will store a group of characters. It will store characters. It will store words. It will store phrases. Okay, so if I want to store a string, I can simply say string. So by doing that, and then I'll go ahead and create a string. Maybe I can say name. So after creating it like this, then we shall be able to store a name inside this string. So I can say maybe name is equal to Bearer Sabia. Okay, so it means that this name, it will be added inside this name of a string. This string. Then I can access it also. So I can put also cout. Okay, so I can put out. I can begin even the word name, no problem. And then I can put space, and then I put out again. So I add the name. Okay, here name. So I can also put out and put some new line. Okay, so this string, it will be stored inside this name, and this space we created it here, and then this name, I'm displaying it, the word name, and then the name here. So that's how we can reuse the string. So if I run it, we will be able to see name as Bearer Sabia. So that's how we declare a string. A string is just a group of characters. This was the what? This was an integer. It will store only numbers with no decimal point. This one a character. It will store only a single character. And this is how we initialize it, using a single quote. These are doubles. We don't need to put quotes on doubles and integers. We just declare them and equate them to a double and integer. Then a string, you'll have to put double quotes, and then you'll be able to store a variable inside, or some data inside a string variable. So you can even reuse all these things, for example, that we have learned. So I can press Ctrl D. You can just copy and paste here, and then this was a what? This was the name, I can say age, and then age I can put maybe, remember I have something called age there, then I can put age. You see, I'm trying to write a simple profile. I'm trying to show you how you can implement these things. Okay, what else? Maybe I can put weight, and weight is always measured in what? In double. So I can put weight, then after I can put the what? After putting the weight, what else? What else? What else? What else? We have a name, we have a weight, we have a maybe I can put gender or sex. Can put here sex. So I'm showing how you can implement these things in real world. So I can put sex. So sex I can put here female, or F. I can put here F inside this character. Okay, so let us see how we can implement these things in real world. So the name will come here, and the age will come here. So here I have sex, so I have to put my what? My character, my underscore chair. So the sex is always abbreviated. For example, I'll abbreviate it in one character. I have my age will come, and then my weight will come here. So weight, it is stored inside my double. I'll replace this on my double, so I can put another new line. So by doing this, I'll have a simple profile of information that was entered before. So let us run this program, and you see, this is the simple profile that I have created. Can you see? Name Birasabia, sex female, age 34, weight 11.31. So how did I do that? I stored them inside the variables. So before you proceed, first pause this code and practice the same, and try to do the same, and make sure that you get it. Otherwise, if you don't get it, you can just put your problem in a comment section, and I'll be able to do what? To respond to it. So we proceed. That's how we create variables, and that's how we store variables inside. We store values inside a variable. Then you have what you call boolean. So boolean, it will store true or false. So to declare boolean, you just simply say bool. Okay, and then you put the name of variable. Okay, maybe is happy. That's the name of what of my boolean, is happy. Okay, so this is happy. It will store true or false. So if I want to store something here, I can just simply put equal sign, and then you put the word true. Then this true is never in what? Is never in double quotes. Don't put it inside the word, the double quotes, like the way I've been doing. So this true will help us to tell whether something is true or false. For example, if I want to show this true, is how we can use this true. We use an if condition. We shall use if condition there in future, but this moment let me just give you a hint. So you can say if, then I put this variable. So I put if is happy, I can say cout, I put say name, and I put is happy. Okay, so if this is true, it will execute the first line. Then I can put here else. Don't worry, we shall explain these things later. You can put here else, and then if it is not true, it will execute the second one. Okay, name is not happy. So what's going to happen? We are going to declare this as true, as a boolean, and store there true. And then if it is really true, it will execute this part. Otherwise, it will execute this else part. So this will be the name. So we already have a name here variable, and I've stored something there. And then it will also be the name here. So I say the certain name is happy, or the certain name is not happy. In case it is false, it will execute the second variable. So if I run it, remember how I've stored there a true. You can see Bira Sabia is happy. Why? Because there is a true here, so it will execute the first condition. So let us try to put false. So to write false, you just put false like that. So if I save, I come and run it, you will see Bira Sabia is not happy. So why? Because this is happy is false, so it will have to execute the second part. So that's how we implement true, and we have a lot to cover inside the what? Inside the true, because almost the whole logic will be depending whether something is true or false. So if I run it right now, you can see Bira Sabia is not happy. So that's how we implement the true and false. So you can pause this video and try to practice these things that I've taught so far, and then we resume after practicing. If you get any problem, please put in the comment section. I'll respond to it. Okay, so we continue. Creating variables, that one is done. We have already done that. Declaring variables, that one is done. Multiple variables. So how to use multiple variables? We shall look at that inside the operator. In other words, here it is not useful. But okay, you can as well declare multiple variables using the same line. For example, you see here, I'm declaring age. I can as well say comma, and I put another variable. That's what they're trying to explain. I can say age is equal to that, and then maybe I put another integer variable. Maybe I can say what? DOB. Date of birth is equal to maybe if you okay, let me say age is equal to 11 and date of birth is equal to so 11 years minus today, that is 2009, so it's equal to 2009. So you see how I've declared this variable instead of just saying another int and then say DOB. Remember, I cannot declare a variable two times with the same name. Is equal to 2009. Instead of doing this, you can as well put a comma here and declare another variable and initialize it in case you want to. That's how we declare multiple variables in the same line. So we go to user inputs. How do you get information from the user or from the keyboard? So to collect information from the keyboard, still we use the standard library of C++, which is the IO stream, and we use the cin to get the variable. Then we add there these operators. How do you call them even? I don't think they have a name. These operators. Okay, we are using cout to print or to display, but here I want to collect variable from the user, so we shall need these two operators that point in the other opposite side, or the greater signs, which are one following the other, that is pointing inside or that is pointing to the variable itself. So for example, I'm going to scan, I'm going to get a number from the user, and then after I'll display it. So how do you do that? So I'll come here and copy this word input, and then copy. Then I'll create a new file by simply coming to file, save as, and then this will be number 6, and maybe make it input like this, and then I save. Okay, so I'll remove all this garbage and then create my own variable. So I can say int and then say age again. Okay, then I want to ask the user to enter his age. So how do you display on the screen? By using cout. So I can simply say cout and then put out. Okay, I mean put out like this. I say how old are you? So I want to scan the age from the what? From the keyboard. Okay, I want to scan the age. So if I run this one, it will just run the program and stop it. How old are you? But we want to get the age from the user. Want the user to tell us the age, and we'll be able to display it on the screen. So to do that, we have now to scan. So we call it scanning. So if we want to scan a value from the keyboard, we use cin. The other one was cout, this one is cin, to get the value from the keyboard. So we have to also change the direction of these ones, these points, and then they have to point also in the variable that we want to store in, so which is age. So it means that it will ask how old are you, and then the computer will start waiting for someone to enter the age, and then after he press enter, we want to display this age. So how shall we display out? We shall simply say, okay, let me run it so far. Okay, so how old are you? Now you can see the program has asked us how old are you, and then it has waited for us to enter the age. But previously it could ask us how old are you, and then it collapses. So if I want to scan someone's age, I can say maybe 22, and then I press enter, then the program will end because it has executed this part. So what made this program to wait for us to enter the age is the what is the cin, and then this cin, it has stored this age inside the variable, whatever we entered inside the variable of what, of age. So if I want to display the age, I can simply again use the cout by simply saying cout, and then put out like this, and use the double quotes, and then say you are, let me put maybe a new line first. Okay, you are, then I have to put the age, then I have to point like this, age, then I again point like this, then I put double quotes, and then say years old, then I put a new line maybe, and then I put a semicolon at last. Don't forget the semicolon. So it means that here we shall ask the user to enter the age, and then here we shall scan, or we shall get the age from the keyboard and store it here. Then here we shall tell the user his age. So if we run it, so you see, how old are you? 31. Boom. Then you are 31 years old. If you run the program again, how old are you? So we at this point we are scanning 11. You press enter, then you see you are 11 years old. So this age is being replaced here. So that's how we get the values from the keyboard. So we first create a variable and then scan that variable. We can get as many values as you want. For example, I can ask, what's your name? For example, I can say, okay, here, and put name. Okay, it's not necessary that all the time should be name. It can be even n. A variable can have a name, any name, as long as that name is not used by another variable. It's not a keyword. So I can come and copy this. I can just, after this question, I can ask, okay, I can begin, what's your name? I can begin, what is your name? Okay, so I'll ask someone to enter the name, and then remember, the name has to be a string, has to be what? A string, remember that. So I'll put string because it is a group of characters. So I'll have to scan this, then I can say cin, and then I scan the name, okay, and put it inside n, okay. Then after asking the name, I'll ask now, how old are you? Okay, then after I'll display. So to display, I can put here, you are called, then I have to put the name here, right? So dash dash n, and then I put again dash dash, I put the double quotes, comma, and you are. So you see the program that's written. It will ask someone to create a string of name, and then it will ask someone to enter the name, then I'll scan the name. Then it will create another, it will also ask someone to enter their age, and then I'll store the age inside here. Then after I'll display, you are called the name, and then I put a comma, then I say you are age years old. I hope you can understand that. So if I run it, so I'll get this beautiful result. How old what's your name? Mohindo Mubarak. Okay, I press enter. Okay. Right. Seriously. Okay, what's your name? Serious. What's your name? Vera. I can say Kule. How old are you? 17. Then you see, you are called Kule, and you are, so I don't put here space, you are 17 years old. That's how we scan a name from the what? From the keyboard. So we proceed. That's how we scan a name from the what? From the keyboard. So you go to the next. That's how you input numbers. That's how you input, okay. Input numbers like that using cin, okay, and then using cout. I've already explained that. Also booleans also use cout. I've already explained these ones. Characters we also use cin and cout, and then strings also use cin and cout to scan the strings. So we come to operators. So operators, they help us to perform mathematical operation. I repeat, operators, they help us to perform operations like adding numbers and subtracting numbers and doing all that stuff. So we have different types of operators, and here they are. We have arithmetic operators. We have assignment operators, we have comparison operators, and we have logical operators, and then bitwise operators. So we are going to look at one by one of them. So assignment operators, these ones, they are used to perform arithmetic operators. They are used to perform mathematical operations. For example, we have a plus, we have a minus, we have a multiplication, a division, a percentage or remainder module, and then we use this one to perform the modulus, okay, the reminders. And then we have an increment to increase either two numbers, adding two numbers, and we have, it increases the numbers. We have minus minus, this one reduces the number by 1. So this one, we call them arithmetic operators. We shall look at them in practical. So let us practice even before we go far. Arithmetic operators. Okay, so to do arithmetic operators, let me copy this word because I'll want it. So I'll have to create a new file, save as, and then I'll just click there and change this one to what? To 7, and then put this one as arithmetic operators cpp. That cpp must be there. So there we are. So I'll first remove all this garbage. Okay, so I'll have maybe two numbers, two integers, x and y. I've said that this arithmetic operator, they enable us to add or to perform mathematical operations. So if I want to add these two numbers, what will I do? I can put here x, y, z. Okay, z. So I'll first declare them. I can say x is equal to 11. Okay, and I can say y is equal to 22, and then I can say now I want to perform mathematical operation. So mathematical operation says z is equal to x plus y. So what will be done? This plus will get the value of x and add it on y, and then store it inside the z. So if I want to put the output, I can just simply use cout and then put out the output like this, z. Can you see? So if I run it, I'll have 33. So if I want to do my subtraction, I can put the minus. Then if I run it, So it's going to be 11 minus 11. Minus 22. The answer is negative 11, and you can see. I can even be able to display them by saying maybe x, and then I put I also add the string, the character which is minus. So then this is just the display part. Then I put also the value of of y is e, and then I put also these double quotes, and then I put equal sign, and then I put the value of of z. So by doing this one, it will represent operation that we have just performed mathematically. Sorry, what is missing? Okay, here they are missing some codes. So if I run it, we shall have this kind of output. 11 has been replaced here, minus, it is this one, 22 here, which is got minus 11. I can make this one program to be dynamic by getting the values from the user. So I'll just say cin, and then I'll scan the I'll get the value of x, and then I'll put c out, again cin, and scan the value of how are you? And scan the value of y. So by doing like that, I'll get these values from the from the keyboard. Oh, sorry, I have to perform now the operation here. Okay, I have to perform the operation. Okay, maybe I want to perform the multiplication operation. Okay, so if I put the x, so we use star to perform the multiplication operation. So if I run it, so there we are. So I'll put the first value, which is maybe 2, then press enter. That means that I've scanned, or I've got the first value, and which is x. I've stored it here, and then maybe put 4, and then press enter. So you see 2 times 4 is equal to 8, which is correct. So I've written that program from scratch, and you have also seen how I've written it. Okay, so you should also pause this video and practice, and make sure that you get it up to this. If you don't understand, then put your problem in the comment section. I'll be able to respond to you. So you can perform modulus for reminder. So let us look at plus plus. So this plus plus is the increment. It adds only one number on what you have. For example, I can add one number here. You see? So to do that, the plus plus will enable us to add a single number to whatever we have. For example, I can say z plus plus. Okay, sorry, this is small z. Remember, small z is not as equal to capital Z inside. Those are two different things inside programming of C++. So if I say z plus plus, so what will it do? It will get the value of z and then add there 1. So on our answer, it will always add there 1. Then if I run it, you'll see I'll ask 3 by 3 is equal to 9, and the answer is 10. Why? Because we said z plus plus. So this z plus plus, this plus plus will add 1 on the final result, and then the answer would be 9. But because of 1, it will do what? It will add, because of plus plus, and then it will become what? It will become 10. We also have minus minus. So this minus minus will reduce it, of course. So if I run it, then I'll be asked, I can say maybe 5 by 5. The answer is 25. So that we should expect the answer to be 24. Why? Because it said minus minus, and this minus minus reduces it to become 24. So that's how we use the minus minus and the plus plus to increase. So we go to assignment operators. So assignment operators, we use them to assign values to a certain value. So the most used assignment operator, we have already seen it, we've already seen it before, it is the equal sign. So this equal sign will assign an operator to another one, or assign a value to a certain operator. Then you have plus equal to. This one will also do the same. In other words, it will just, this one will be just like getting 5 and replace it inside the x. This one will add the value to the previous value, that is plus equal to. Then you have minus equal to, will get the previous value and subtract the other value that you've just added there. Then multiply, this one is also equivalent to the previous value times the value that you're doing there. Also modulus, this one will find the remainder and then replace it in the previous one. So this one not equal to will also do the same. So this one of power will do the exponential, and this one will also assign something if in case is greater than 33. I mean it's greater than 3 in case you use this one. So let us go into the code and see how we practice these assignment operators. So we are going to open, I'll copy this and I'll open a new file, save as, and then I'll come here and change this one to what? To 8, and then change this one to assignment operators, and then I'll save, and then I'll save this one to what? I'll delete all these garbages, and then I'll create maybe an integer x. I'll initialize it. So to initialize, that's the first assignment operator. You remember this one for equating. Okay, so assignment is just assigning a value to a certain thing. So I can say x is equal to 10. So I can say cout, then I can put out, maybe I should first put some new lines, and then I can put out x, and then maybe I should put also new lines to make it a little bit free from compiler text. So if I run it, you'll see the output is what? Is 10. Why? Because we have stored there 10. It have assigned there 10. So let us look at another assignment operator, which is plus equal to. So if you use plus equal to, it will add a value to that. Instead of writing like x is equal to x plus maybe 5. Okay, this one will know it will be what? It will be 15, because we'll get this x 5 10 and then add their 5, and then it will store it in this one, and the answer will be what? Will be 15. Another way of doing that, we can use it by just simply saying x plus equal 5. So it will just add 5 on itself. Okay, it will add 5 on itself. So if I run this program, you see it is the same as the previous one. It becomes 15. I can as well use the subtraction. I say x minus equal to 5. So this will reduce 5 on the x itself. So you see the output is 5 because we said minus x 5. So instead of saying x is equal to x minus 5, we can as well use the same thing to assign to it using a single line. You can use multiplication, division to do the same tasks. So for this video we shall stop from there. We shall meet in the next video where we shall resume at comparison and logical operators, and then go to strings and math booleans and the rest. I hope you don't miss, and remember not to just watch this video, but to watch and practice. Not just watching, but watch and do exactly what I've done. So if you want this source code, I'll put the the link to download this source code in the comment section, and you can be able to download this source code and maybe follow along. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us meet in the next video.